believe we have a short presentation from the SFPUC.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I could just make a quick comment. I asked Assistant General Manager Mr. Steve Ritchie to join us this evening to provide firsthand from the Public Utilities Commission report on the incident that you're all familiar with, and I believe many of our residents have been informed about, and that is a significant water line break that has affected our community and is rapidly in the process of being resolved by the PUC. So this is an opportunity both for you as well as for members of the public who might be watching to get firsthand updated information and for you to ask questions. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Wayne, members of the council. I'm Steve Ritchie, the Assistant General Manager for Water, and I just spent the last hour and a half just up the road in Junipero-Serra Park observing the repair work that's underway right now on the water leak. It was discovered last night at about 9:30 p.m. by our staff, and we had sent out emergency notifications at 1:30 and 2:30 in the morning to the affected areas, which included San Bruno. San Bruno's water supply comes off of this pipeline, which is a 54-inch pipeline, as well as North Coast County Water District and the San Bruno Jail. One of the things that we decided early on was it was very important to keep pressure up in the pipeline. So even though there was a fair amount of water leaking out, we didn't want to depressurize the pipeline because you might have ended up out of water. And that would have been an unacceptable state of affairs, and in fact, in the long run, would have cost us more water to try to bring the systems back up. So one of the things that people were asking a lot of questions about today, we left the water running at fairly strong pressure to keep the systems intact while we put in place contingency plans that would allow us to actually take the system down. So we work closely with your city staff, particularly Mark Reinhardt on the operations staff, to make sure that you would be prepared for what ultimately would be a 3 to 4 day period where that pipeline would be unavailable for your supply. And so we did a pretty successful job of that, making sure your storage is topped up and that there are alternate connections available for the supply. The same thing applied to North Coast County Water District over in Pacifica, as well as the San Bruno Jail. One of the things I also do want to point out is one of the things we take very seriously is public safety, so that as the event developed, we worked closely with the police department here in San Bruno, who did a really good job of securing the area and making sure that we could get in, do what we started to need to do, and make sure that the public was safe at the same time. So basically at 11 o'clock this morning, we shut off that pipeline, took the pressure down, and started to go in and actually see what was there. We found a hole in the pipe. This was, this occasionally happens. This is a 1927 pipe, but there was nothing unique about it. It's not showing lots of signs of old age, except in one little spot where a hole developed, ended up washing out about a lot of dirt. The parking lot's kind of a mess up there. It's a washboard right now. But we're going to go in right now. In fact, they're probably going into the pipe as I speak to go in and weld some steel inside, sealing that hole. Then it'll take a couple of days to actually get water in there to disinfect the pipeline, which you always have to do after you take a pipeline down, move that water out. Then by the Saturday, once we've tested for any bacterial contamination, hopefully put it back into service at that time. So yeah, a pipeline break like this is never very fun. We have one in our transmission system about every 18 months or so in one of our big pipelines. It's a big deal when it happens because these are the lines that serve numerous communities. It's not just a little neighborhood. It's a large area. So we've been working pretty hard at this to make sure it gets taken care of. One thing I would want to note is that fortunately, doesn't appear there's a lot of physical damage caused by this. A lot of times with main breaks, you end up with flooded houses and basements and major erosion efforts. In the park, it actually worked out well, came down through the creekway here behind the community or the senior center, went into a storm drain, and went on down through the storm drain system down to behind the airport. So on that front, we were actually fairly fortunate that there was, again, very little damage that occurred. So, as always, we're sorry this has happened. We take full responsibility for making sure it's repaired and that it's put back into service in a rapid amount of time, and folks are as inconvenienced as little as possible. But these things do happen, and we want to make sure that the community is minimally affected by it.
Thank you very much, Steve. We're very sensitive to pipelines in San Bernardino.
The irony of the situation was not lost on a lot of people.
Yeah, but this one didn't hurt anybody, and a little bit of water in the city. So we appreciate your efforts and your timeliness in getting this thing fixed. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Connie?
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add, Mr. Ritchie did not he mentioned public safety, but he did not specifically mention fire service. And I just wanted to assure the City Council and members of the public that preparation and cognizance of the need for an adequately maintained fire flow system is among our priorities in assuring drinking water and the other functions of the water supply system. So that has been top of the mind with our staff as we have worked closely and cooperatively over the last 18 or so hours with the PUC, and we'll be continuing forward for the next couple of days until the system is fully restored to its previous operational capacity.
Okay. And there hasn't been any residential disruption?
There has not been any disruption to customer services, and again, I would say due to the good and close coordination with the San Francisco PUC, as Mr. Ritchie indicated, they made adjustments to what might have otherwise been a very aggressive repair schedule by allowing the water to continue to run. Obviously, in a drought situation, that's a cause for question and concern. We and they had to balance that against the need to maintain customer services in a widespread area. So that has all been done in close coordination.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.